Have you ever turned on a flashlight and watched the beam hit a wall? You think you just saw light travel. You think it took a tiny fraction of a second to get there. That is what we are all taught. Light moves through space over time. Wrong. Not a little wrong. Fundamentally, reality-breakingly wrong. Here is the truth. From the perspective of that beam of light, no time passed at all. Zero. If you look up at the night sky tonight and see a photon from a star 13.8 billion light years away, that photon didn't experience 13.8 billion years. It was born and died in the exact same instant. It experienced absolutely 0 seconds. You have felt the passage of time today. You aged. You waited. But light doesn't wait. It doesn't age. For light, there is no past and there is no future. Time is not a universal ticking clock. Time is an illusion created by how slow you are. Tonight, we are going to destroy the clock. Let me show you. Look at your wrist or your phone. You see numbers ticking upwards, always forward, never stopping. We are trapped in that flow. But close your eyes and imagine being a photon, the smallest particle of light. You burst out of a star at the edge of the visible universe. You fly across freezing, empty vacuums. You dodge galaxies. You finally crash into a human eyeball on Earth. To the human, you traveled for 13 billion years. To you, the journey took literally no time. Birth and death smashed together into a single 0-second flash. Here's the part nobody tells you. This isn't just some weird math trick. It is the absolute law of the universe. You probably think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. Your watch is lying to you. Because time is not a steady beat. It's a stretchy, bendy material. And light stretches it until it snaps. But to understand why time dies at the speed of light, we have to look at how you drive your car. Think of driving down the highway. You press the gas pedal. You feel the engine hum. The tires grip the asphalt. You want to go faster? You push harder. We are wired to believe that speed is just a matter of effort. If you have enough fuel, enough power, you can keep accelerating forever, right? Wrong. This is where your intuition completely fails. We treat the speed of light like it is just a really, really fast speed, a very fast car. People say the speed limit of the universe is just a physical law, but that's just a label. It is not a speed limit like a sign on the highway. A highway sign is a rule. You can break it if you are willing to get a ticket. The speed of light is not a rule. It is a boundary condition of reality itself. Let me say that again, because it should terrify you. Light isn't just moving fast. Light is moving at the maximum allowed geometry of our universe. Stop. Think about this. Imagine reality is a video game. The speed of light isn't the fastest car in the game. It is the rendering speed of the computer chip running the simulation. You cannot move faster than the pixels can draw themselves. If you try to push past it, the universe doesn't give you a speeding ticket. It physically warps the track. It bends the road. It slows down your clock to stop you from breaking the math. You push the pedal, the universe pushes back. Every single time you speed up, you are fighting a war against the fabric of space. You don't feel it in your car because you are moving pathetically slow, like a blind snail crawling across an endless concrete sidewalk. But as you get faster, the universe starts to panic. Space itself gets thick. It pushes. Time itself gets sticky and sluggish. Why? Because the cosmos has a strict, unbreakable budget, and it forces you to spend that budget in a very specific, twisted way. Now watch what this implies. What if I told you that right now, sitting in your chair, staring at this screen, doing absolutely nothing at all, you are already traveling at the exact speed of light? Wait, exactly. You just don't realize what direction you're moving. because that direction isn't a physical place. It's time. Let me explain the greatest secret Einstein uncovered. It's the speedometer of space-time. Imagine driving a car that is stuck on cruise control. But this cruise control is locked at the speed of light. You cannot speed up, you cannot slow down. You just steer. Now try this. Imagine a giant graph right in front of you. The vertical axis is time. The horizontal axis is space. Right now you are sitting still. You aren't moving through space. So where is all your speed going? Straight up, through time. You are blasting through time at the maximum possible velocity. Every second that ticks by is you covering distance in time. But what happens if you stand up and walk across the room? You just steered your cosmic car. You turned the steering wheel slightly into the physical space dimension. But remember, you have a fixed budget. Your total speed cannot change. So if you spend some of your speed moving through space, you have less speed left over to move through time. Your passage through time has to fundamentally slow down. Hold that thought. We're about to snap it in half. This means the faster you move through space, the slower time gets. It is a cosmic seesaw, a strict, unbreakable mathematical trade-off. Space and time are not two different things. They are one fabric, space-time. You only have one engine, and it distributes power between the two. If you sprint down the street, your biological clock ticks slightly slower. If you fly in a commercial jet, your watch literally falls behind. It's a microscopic difference, sure. You don't feel it at all. But the math is ruthless. The universe does not care about your feelings. People say time is a universal river, but that's just a label. Time is entirely selfish. It only cares about your personal speed distribution. Now let's take this concept to the absolute extreme edge. What if you steer your car completely into the space dimension? What if you spend your entire energy budget on space? You hit the ultimate cosmic speed limit, the speed of light. And what happens to your speed through time? Zero. You have no budget left. The engine cuts out completely. Time stops. Dead. And right there, that is the glitch in the matrix. That is exactly why a tiny little photon does not age ever. It spends absolutely everything it has on moving through physical space. It has absolutely nothing left to spend on moving through time. But you don't have to take my word for this theory, because we built a system that proves this every single day. You probably have the evidence in your pocket right now. Pull out your phone right now. Open up a map application. Look at that tiny little blue dot showing exactly where you are standing. You probably think it's just basic software talking to a satellite. Wrong. That little blue dot is doing hardcore relativistic math. It is constantly adjusting for the fact that time is broken. Let me explain. 20,000 kilometers straight above your head, a massive network of GPS satellites is zipping around the Earth. They are moving extremely fast, roughly 14,000 kilometers per hour. Remember the speedometer of space-time we just talked about? Because those satellites are moving much faster through space than you are, they are moving slightly slower through time. Their clocks literally tick slower than yours down on the ground. Not mechanically slower, not physically broken. Time itself is literally dragging for them. Here's the part nobody tells you. If the brilliant engineers who built the global GPS system didn't program those exact satellites to account for Einstein's relativity, your simple map app would fail completely. Not in a year, not in a month, in a single day, that little blue dot would blindly drift by over 10 kilometers. You'd try to drive to the grocery store and your expensive phone would tell you you're in the middle of a lake. People say time is an absolute rigid grid, but that's just a label. Time is highly flexible. It bends instantly to speed. Every single time you ask your phone for directions, it has to actively calculate how much time has stretched for those satellites. It has to subtract the time dilation to figure out exactly where you are. That sounds impossible until you see the trick. The trick is that relativity isn't just a chalkboard theory for guys with wild hair. It is a real physical engineering problem. We literally have to hack the flow of time just to order a pizza. So, We know for a fact time slows down when you move fast. We can measure it. We blindly rely on it. But 14,000 kilometers per hour is absolutely nothing. It is a pathetic rounding error compared to the speed of light. What happens if we push it? What happens if we stop looking at human-made satellites and start looking at the absolute limit of the universe? Einstein asked himself this exact question. He imagined chasing a beam of light. I want you to close your eyes and imagine something entirely impossible. Imagine you are standing on a perfectly straight road. A flashlight clicks on beside you. A single beam of pure light shoots forward. You start to run. But you aren't just running fast. You are running at half the speed of light. You look forward at the beam of light. How fast is it moving away from you? Common sense tells you it should be moving away at half the speed of light, because you are catching up to it, right? Wrong. This is where your intuition completely fails. The beam of light is still pulling away from you at exactly the speed of light. Let me say that again because it should terrify you. You sped up by an unimaginable amount, but the light didn't care. It didn't slow down relative to you, not even a tiny fraction of a millimeter per second. You try harder. You run at 99% the speed of light. You look at the beam. It is still moving away from you at exactly the speed of light. How is this geometrically possible? People say speed is just distance over time, but that's just a label. Here is the dirty secret of the universe. The speed of light is the only absolute rule. Everything else is completely fake. If the speed of light refuses to change, something else must bend to make the math work. And that something is your personal experience of time and space. Your clock slows down to a brutal crawl. Your ruler literally shrinks. This isn't a theory. It is a mathematical sledgehammer called the Lorentz factor. The equation looks like this. It is beautifully simple. Gamma equals 1 minus C2V2. 1. Don't let the math scare you. Look at the bottom half. V is your velocity. C is the speed of light. As your speed V gets closer and closer to C, that bottom fraction gets closer and closer to 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. The universe is desperately trying to divide by 0. It is screaming at you. The Lorentz factor is the ultimate cosmic braking system. As you push your speed higher, this multiplier skyrockets to infinity. It multiplies your mass. It crushes your length. It destroys your flow of time. You are tearing the fabric of reality apart just to chase a photon. But what if you aren't chasing it? What if you are the photon? What happens when you finally plug exactly C into that equation? Plug V equals a C into the equation. Just slam the accelerator to the absolute maximum. You divide by 0. The math completely shatters into pieces. It ceases to function entirely. It gives you a mathematical heart attack. This is the secret that will destroy your clock. Because what does a broken equation actually mean in the real world? It means a complete, total collapse of reality from the perspective of a photon. Think about this for a second. You are a particle of light. You are born inside the burning core of our sun. You burst out. You launch into the empty darkness of space. You fly toward Earth for exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That is what a human observer on a telescope sees. But you are the photon. You don't have a human watch. You don't have human patience. You have your own clock. And according to the Lorentz factor we just broke, your multiplier went to infinity. Your time dilation became absolute. Your clock doesn't tick slower. It stops ticking forever. People say time is an illusion, but that's just a label. For you, time is literally a 0. It doesn't exist. It never existed. From the exact instant you were created in the sun, to the exact instant you crashed into a leaf on a tree in my backyard, 0 seconds passed for you. Birth, travel, death. It all happened in a single, simultaneous event. You were created and destroyed exactly at once. You didn't feel an 8-minute journey. You felt absolutely nothing. Here's the part nobody tells you. Every single photon you have ever seen has never felt a single second of its life. The ancient starlight you see in a telescope from a distant galaxy, 13 billion years old? To you, yes. To the light, it never aged. It is still a newborn baby hitting your eye. But wait, it gets weirder. If time completely stops for a photon, what happens to the physical space it travels through? If time collapses to absolute zero, distance has to break too, and it breaks spectacularly. Let's zoom out. We just established time dies at the speed of light. But relativity is a package deal. Space and time are the exact same fabric. If you crush time to absolutely nothing, space has to follow. Remember the Lorentz factor? That beautiful, terrifying equation dividing by zero? It doesn't just freeze your clock, it flattens your ruler. It is called length contraction. As you move faster through space, the universe literally squishes in the direction you are moving. Imagine running past a long train. If you run fast enough, that train physically shrinks. You think I'm exaggerating? I'm not. It physically gets shorter from your perspective. Now push that to the limit. Push it to the speed of light. What happens when your length multiplier hits absolute zero? Distance vanishes. This is where your intuition completely fails. People say the universe is vast and empty, but that's just a label. For a photon, the universe is a two-dimensional photograph. It is completely flat. Close your eyes and imagine a photon leaving a distant star. To us, it travels across unimaginably huge voids, trillions of miles of empty space. To the photon, that distance literally contracted to zero. There is no space between the star it was born in and your eye. The surface of that star and the retina in your eye are physically touching each other. Let me say that again because it should terrify you. From the perspective of light, it does not travel at all. It is emitted and absorbed in the exact same place at the exact same instant. The emitter and the absorber are right next to each other. The entire 13.8 billion light-years span of the cosmos is crushed into a distance of 0 millimeters. For light, the universe has no depth. It is just a flat sheet of simultaneous events. This is the secret that will destroy your clock. Because if light experiences zero time and zero distance, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for the reality we are trapped in? If a photon sees the universe as a flat, instant event, why do we experience a long, drawn-out timeline? What happens to our concept of now? Let's rethink everything we just learned. If a photon experiences no time, what does this actually mean for us? You wake up, you have breakfast, you go to work, you come home. You think of time as a moving cursor on a video timeline, sweeping across the present, leaving the past behind, pushing into an unknown future. We call it the flow of time. People say time flows, but that's just a label. It is entirely a trick of your incredibly slow perspective. Here's the part nobody tells you. Einstein's relativity doesn't just mess with clocks on fast rocket ships. It completely obliterates the idea of a universal now. Think of someone you know on the other side of the planet. What are they doing right now? You think there is a simultaneous snapshot of the whole universe, a single moment of present that everyone agrees on. Wrong. This is where your intuition completely fails, because space and time are fundamentally connected by the speed of light. Your now is entirely subjective. It depends exactly on how fast you are moving. Imagine an alien walking toward Earth from a distant galaxy. Because they are moving toward us, their now slices through time at a slightly different angle than yours. Their now might include events on Earth that haven't happened for you yet. Their now might include your future. And if another alien is walking away from Earth, their now might slice backward into your past. They might see your history as their present. All of these perspectives are equally valid. This leads physicists to a terrifying concept called the block universe. Imagine a solid block of ice. Every single event that has ever happened, or ever will happen is frozen inside that block. The past, the present, and the future exist simultaneously. They are all equally real. They are all just locations in space-time. You don't flow through time. You just experience different slices of the block as you slowly crawl through it. But why? Why are we stuck crawling? Why doesn't everything just exist simultaneously for us, like it does for a photon? Why do we experience the agonizing passage of seconds, minutes, and years, while light ignores it entirely? There is one fundamental difference between you and a photon. One single physical property that traps you in the flow of time. Hold that thought. We're about to snap it in half. You are not a photon. You are made of atoms. You have flesh. You have bones. You have mass. And that is the final piece of the puzzle. That is why you are trapped inside time. Let me explain the deep secret of mass. If you remember our space-time speedometer, you know you have to spend all your speed on moving through either space or time. A photon spends everything on space. It moves at the speed of light. It has no time. But you cannot do that. You are physically forbidden from spending all your speed on space. Why? Because you have mass. Mass is the anchor that drags you through time. Here's the part nobody tells you. Mass isn't just how heavy you are on a scale. That's just a label. Mass is your resistance to acceleration. It is the universe's way of saying, no, you cannot go the maximum speed. Imagine trying to push a giant boulder across a field. It fights you. It refuses to move fast. That is what mass does to you in the fabric of space-time. It slows you down in space, which forces you to move through time. The more mass you have, the harder it is to push you toward the speed of light. And because you can never, ever reach the speed of light, you will always, eternally, have some leftover speed that must be spent moving through time. You probably think I'm exaggerating. I'm not. This is the fundamental reason you experience a timeline. If you had absolutely no mass, you wouldn't experience time either. You would instantly be accelerated to the speed of light the second you were born. You would shoot across the cosmos in a single, timeless flash, just like a photon. You would exist in a flat, instantaneous universe. You wouldn't have a past and you wouldn't have a future. You would just be a static point connecting a beginning and an end. This is where your intuition completely fails. You think mass is just the stuff you are made of. But mass is the reason you have a life. It is the reason you have memories. Mass is what gives you time. So we come to the end of our journey. We've seen how light breaks the speedometer of space-time, how the universe desperately divides by zero, how length contracts and time completely dies. We've seen that for a photon there is no journey. The universe is a flat photograph of immediate existence. But you have mass. You are anchored. You are slow. And because you are slow, you get to experience the passage of seconds. You get to feel the weight of years. People say time is an enemy that takes things away from us. But that's just a label. It's not just time dilation. It's the deep truth of existence. We are incredibly lucky to have mass. Because without it, we couldn't experience a lifetime. We wouldn't have a past to remember or a future to look forward to. We wouldn't have now. The next time you turn on a flashlight, don't just see a beam of light hitting a wall. See a traveler that experienced zero time, a piece of the universe that connects the beginning and the end in a single, flawless instant. And then look at your watch. Appreciate the ticking. Appreciate the slow, beautiful crawl through the block universe. Because you have something a photon will never have. You have time. If this broke your brain in the best way possible, hit the subscribe button. There are infinitely more secrets hidden in the math, and we are going to break them all. I'll see you in the next one.